Giants have emerged from their strongholds to threaten civilization as never before. Hill giants are stealing all the grain and livestock that they can, while stone giants have been scouring settlements that have been around forever. Fire giants are press-ganging small folk into the desert, while frost giants' long ships have been pillaging along the Sword Coast. Even the elusive cloud giants have been witnessed, their wondrous floating cities appearing above Water's Deep and Baldur's Gate. Where is the storm giant King Hecaton, who is tasked with keeping order among these giants? What the lands of Faerun, the elves and the dwarves, the humans and the halflings, and the gnomes and the dragonborn need right now is a group of heroes to raise and take on this threat and ensure continued peace in the lands. And maybe one day they'll get round to it.
Talk on the streets and taverns of Baldur's Gate has turned to a death curse, a mysterious ailment afflicting anyone who has passed through the doors of death and returned. A wasting disease that seems them sliding back towards the death they once denied, and the doors of death seem to have sealed tightly shut, meaning that nobody can return from beyond them. Temples and scholars are at a loss to explain this mysterious death curse. A dark power grows in the jungles of Chult, a mysterious peninsula far to the south, ringed by mountains and choked by rainforests. The death curse and this dark power seem to be intertwined, and those suffering from the curse seek to bring an end to it. Heroes have been chosen for this task, but they have not returned, and time runs short for those seeking to avoid a second painful death. And so now it seems that it is time for new heroes to rise. Will they succeed where others have failed, or will they be doomed to wander lost in the jungles of Chult forever?
Giants have emerged from their stronghold
Hello!
to threaten civilization as never
Hello,
before.
where is button? Hello and welcome to this final boss fight live stream. My name is John and I am joined by some peoples. And those people are Michael.
Hello!
Sean.
This was the last we saw of Sean.
I don't know how to react to that.
Sean doesn't get let out much.
If I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out.
Oh, we know.
Amy may be here.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
And Ben is here.
How do?
Ben 10.
I get you.
Tanny is in the chat
Hiya, Danny.
and is saying, Tandrake, Ben, Tandrake.
It is due to my heritage.
Yeah, he's 10.
My line go back to Tan.
Stop.
Screaming.
Indeterminate screaming.
This is a new stream that we're going to be doing. We're going to be aiming to do this sort of a stream once a month. We
Nerding out over here. Does anybody have like a move?
what?
What was that?
No fucking clue.
Something opened up on my computer. It was not porn, but it was.
Or
We all know what it was then, don't we?
I accidentally I was opening up Twitch.
You're born, didn't you?
I opened up Twitch thing, like the first thing that came up on Twitch was just super bloody loud.
Michael, I know it was porn, you slut, says Tanny.
You didn't hear Kirby, so therefore it's fine.
yes, Danny knows the site and the video well.
So actually, before I start going on about the stream, I do have to say, I do hope that it's going to play the... There we go. Hello and welcome to Finley Shards, who joined the FBF party this afternoon. Welcome to the team. Take up your sword and let's take this final boss fight on together.
No, don't run away.
Run,
You have the
run,
chance.
run, you have a chance! Flee!
Join us.
John looks so defeated during that section. Just like, yep, well, thanks guys, thanks for the support.
Thanks for the support, team. This is a new stream, and we're going to aim to do this about... Finley Shard says, Hugs, I have a sword, it's fine. The sword is on fire and says hugs on it.
That's...
It does.
To be fair, that would be way more terrifying than a normal sword. If someone came with a sword that was on fire but said hugs, I would be so confused.
I don't know, I'm getting mixed messages! Ah!
And then
Let it so
die.
warm and inviting.
We are going to be trying to do this sort of a stream once a month. I will get this description out at some point. We are going to be aiming to do this stream once a month or so, and the idea is that we're going to be playing a short campaign or a one-shot in a couple of different games. The idea is to get out... to get out of playing just Dungeons & Dragons and to experience some other role-playing games. I know that I have several that I want to run for this random assortment of friends and people I know, and some other things that vaguely resemble people.
Here,
Thank you.
And I know that Sean has some that he would like to run.
Ooh.
Whether he wants to do that on stream or not is up for debate.
I am perfectly happy with it.
I know that Jeff has a number that he would like to run, and obviously, as time occurs, then other people may do the thing, and yeah. So, in this first FBF One Shot Wonders, we're going to be taking a look at a little game called The Ministry for Extramundane Affairs. This is an indie little role-playing game that we found at MCM Comic-Con. They were very nice people. They spoke with us, and we spoke to them. They spoke to us.
Feel special.
They made us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And
I feel nothing but hatred, pain.
And the best thing about the game is, at the moment, if you wish to play this game, the rule set is available online completely free. It is an alpha release, so it is sort of a step up from being play tested. But if you want it, you can go get it. They're going to do a Kickstarter soon, get some artists in, do some artwork, and then they're going to release a final product. But we thought we'd get in on the ground floor, hit the ground running, play a really awesome game, shout out about it, and hopefully you guys like it. It'll be cool.
Hate it.
You're gonna love it. So go out and get it now.
So allow me to start with a little preamble explaining the game. You guys are newly recruited field agents employed by the Ministry for Extramundane Affairs, the government department responsible for policing Great Britain's shadow society of paranormal inhabitants. Unfortunately for you, the year is 1941, and in case you haven't noticed, there's a war on.
Oh, that makes sense.
In his obsession with the arcane, Himmler has refounded the Thule Society, a fanatical cult. A fanatical cult willing to use any and all supernatural means to undermine the enemies of the 1,000-year Reich.
So
This...
take a time out to the fact that Amy giggled about Himmler.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but you know that's a real person, right?
No.
A real actual Nazi.
Yeah.
Well, what we found out is actually she's got a fascination, but you know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
This is stretching the ministry to breaking point. So far as the public is concerned, the threat of invasion has passed. Now the Wehrmacht has turned their attention on Russia, but your war continues, and it is fought with desperate secrecy. If the truth should become known, widespread terror would surely follow. And I shouldn't have minimized that window.
And he just said no one.
The truth!
The truth, woo.
The truth will set you free.
You guys have Frog, Tan, Ms. Puddleduck, and Mr. Weatherby. You have just been put through some perfunctory combat training in Hereford with the Special Operations Executive, also known as the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Yeah.
Also Google that, that is a real thing.
Alright.
Amy, there's no homework for you.
That bit is literally just in the book. It just says Google it if you don't believe us. This means that you know how to at least operate any of the weapons that are listed in the field kit on your character sheets. So at the very least, you know which end to point towards anybody that aims to do you harm.
Yes, they will taste my Zippo.
Your what?
The Zippo will weather lighter. Not sponsored.
In peacetime, new agents would be assigned to established teams and would get to work under established agents. But, you know, there's a war on, and so most of those teams are off doing exceptionally dangerous things, and so you guys just have to kind of muddle along.
Muddle.
I have better chance of freedom than I thought.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
So, you guys, it is the 17th of April, 1941. It is 9 a.m., And you are currently at 22 Threadneedle Street in London, which is the chapter house of the Ministry for Extramundane Affairs. And you are currently congregating in the hallway outside of the office of Mr. Pilgrim, who is the head of the ministry. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves, starting with Frog Morton?
Well, I'm tall. I'm relatively tall for the time. I'm wearing a blue coat with a yellow and grey scarf, brown waistcoat, with a white shirt, a little blue kind of bow tie kind of thing. I'm a bit of a, not necessarily jittery, but kind of relatively nervous about this. Is my first time here, and I'm not very well versed with the ministry at the moment, so I'm a bit all over the place.
So you're useless, basically.
Hello, I'm from Morton. I think that's about it, really. Do I need to tell you what I am or who I?
No, you don't. We'll get to that. Obviously, that'll hopefully come up over the course of the adventure. Next up, if we could hear from Mrs. Puddleduck, or Miss Puddleduck, sorry, Ms. Puddleduck.
Her name is Aslania Memphis Puddleduck. She is very kind of uptight and refined, and she's wearing these like little spectacles. Her hair is black and in a ponytail. She's got a kind of narrowed look, and most of you would know she's known in the ministry as Here and There because she got a job because she literally just started showing up places. She doesn't really have any magic ability, but she was like, hello, I'm here, and I'm here to solve the case because you guys clearly aren't doing it. And she did that so many times that they just gave her a job in the end.
Fuck it, might as well put her on a payroll.
Basically, yes. Yes. Very recently, the ministry's just gone, oh, bugger it, why not? We'll get you in.
I mean, she's here anyway.
We might as well, right?
Precisely.
We tried to kick her out.
Yeah, you'll need better luck than that, darling.
Next up, could we hear from Mr. Drake?
I am Tan Drake. I stand very tall, high above all. I hold pride in myself, though I'm currently subdued. Round my throat. Is Discord playing around?
Amy has just disappeared from the Discords.
Don't worry, I'm back.
Amy has returned from the Discords.
It is fixed.
Leather corset of sorts around my throat, padlocked at the back with a lock I cannot pick. I stand draped in dark fabrics, with my tail wrapped up and hidden behind my back. I do not like this language. I do not like my situation. But because I am the ministry's prisoner, I have agreed to try and gain some freedom.
And finally, Mr. Weatherby.
Yes, hello there. I am Charles Weatherby. I'm relatively, I'm 5'11", just shy of 6 feet. Black hair, greying at the edges, a few scars around the neck area, but don't pay any attention to those. I try and keep them well covered up in a fine grey suit. And other than that, there's not a lot to tell about me. I wear a wedding ring, but she's not around anymore. Tragic story, don't want to get into it. But yes, hello. How are we all today?
Well, I was doing fine until you showed up.
Yes, well, you know what? Unlike you, I was actually I didn't just turn up one day.
Yes, I believe we've all been summoned here. I don't think we're all here by choice, really.
No, I want to be here. Do not get that wrong. It's a very proper organization for proper.
Yes. I mean, I'm honoured to be part of the ministry, but it's I got some things I was kind of doing, but I'm good.
Wonderful. Hello. It's good to see you all, Mr. Dragon Man. Yes, very good, very good.
Looks doe-eyed at the Dragon Man.
What are you staring at?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's I've never come across.
Can I just take a measurement of your head, because it's so.
It's a rather that's a rather impolite question, isn't it?
You're very forward.
But it's look at it.
Perhaps in a private company. Do not ask it. We are all here. It is very improper. Quite frankly, I find that behavior very.
Do you require measurement of my head?
Well, I've just not met her. I've not been so close to a dragon person.
Dear Lord, you have no manners.
Dragonkin.
I've been told I've not got manners. I don't get them. It's opportunity.
Sorry, Mr. Kaiselian?
Yes.
If I may offer you a small piece of advice, be quiet for the moment.
I've been told that before as well.
Yes, perhaps for the now, just keep those thoughts within the head.
Why must we wait? I do not be carry on.
Come on, patience is a virtue.
Yes, I just pull out a pocket watch. Yes, we have been here for a few moments now. I'm sure whoever it is, they'll be here promptly, I'm sure.
And at that moment, the door of Mr. Pilgrim's office swings open, and the secretary gestures that you can head inside.
Finally.
About time.
Frog was halfway towards sitting down, and then just bring back up again.
You
walk straight through the door.
You find yourself in a dark wood-panelled room. There is a large desk in the centre of the room, and there are 4 chairs set out in front of the desk. There is much discussion that you have heard around the chapter house about the fact that there are always the right number of chairs in the room for the number of agents going into the room. You've never seen spare chairs. You've never seen anybody move the chairs. You have heard stories of people leaving the room as a 4-agent team, looking over their shoulders as a team of 3 agents opens the door to go inside, and one of the chairs was not there anymore.
There's only one answer to this. Sentient chairs.
One thing.
Do you actually say that out loud?
No, I do not.
All right then.
Mr.
I need more clear. Charles' voice is more in the higher register.
Mr. Pilgrim is sitting behind the desk. The cut of his suit is about 30 years out of date at this point. It is hard to tell from his looks how old he is, somewhere between late 30s and mid-50s. His hair is sort of gelled, slicked back, and he has grey, white streaks at the temples, and he is just sat there. Congratulations on being cleared for field duty. Let us get to business.
Thank you.
Dan moves the chair aside. I do not need it.
Oh, I love these guys already.
But he's offered you a seat. It is just more polite to sit.
I hold no comfort.
Just
in
let him
sit.
do what he wants.
I just think, I sit down.
I also sit down, hands on lap.
I sit down too.
I'll
I
take a hat.
arms.
Mr. Pilgrim gestures towards his desk, where he has 3 recent editions of the Cambridge Herald. There has been some odd occurrences going
When
on,
is there never any odd occurrences?
specifically in Mill Road.
Find out more.
He picks up the first of the papers that is dated Sunday the 13th of April.
What's the date now? Just...
It is currently Thursday the 17th.
Okay, so it's quite recent.
So, Sunday the 13th of April, people from Mill Road wake to find all of their food has suddenly gone off, and are knocking on the doors of the local grocers asking for more. This is particularly problematic because of rationing.
Oh.
Monday the 14th of April, he picks up the second paper. People from Mill Road and the surrounding area complain that every dog started barking just after 10 p.m. the previous evening and didn't shut up for 6 hours. Many of the dogs are barely able to make a noise the next day, but they seem unusually agitated. He points out that local papers have various takes on it, including one column that discusses the Dogs' Parliament at Mill Road and other such humorous things. And it is clear from his expression that he himself does not derive any humour from the situation. He...
Parliament? Is this what we're learning? Is this a secret thing? We're actually agents for the dog parliament, guys. I figured it out. Mystery solved. Let's go home.
He then picks up a third newspaper dated Tuesday, the 15th of April. Mrs. Anne Granger of 77 Mill Road has gone to the police in the morning and informs them that her home was invaded by a pale man in the small hours of the night. When she confronted him, he left quickly, although she later retracted the statement and asserted that she must have been confused.
That's a bit strange.
Mr. Pilgrim suggests that the pale man may refer to a spirit, and goes on to say, Mr. Caecilian, the other 2 occurrences coincide with possible outcomes when someone miscasts a spell.
Yes. It would seem that way, yes.
There are no registered ritualists or occultists in that part of Cambridge, so we have reason to believe a latent neuromancer or evocationist.
I see.
I too understood those words.
Caecilian, that seems to be in your...
I mean, yes, of course, I should be able to, hopefully find anyone like that.
Weatherby and Drake, you will provide backup.
Very well.
I'm sure that the dragon will suffice. I would hate to do anything.
They say you come.
I just, I have other
You
talents.
come.
No, I'm going to. God, I'm not that rude. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, to be perfectly honest, you were just saying that I was being very rude, and it's very rude.
Again, I'm not.
Superior like this.
I'm just saying. If possible, I were, my friend. I'd rather he didn't make an appearance.
Yes, I'm sure that Drake will provide sufficient backup, but your friend is useful to keep nearby.
Where is friend? Why is he not here?
Don't worry, he'll turn up if required.
Right.
Miss Puddleduck,
Yes.
you also seem to have a nose for these things.
Naturally.
while this can be dangerous, they're usually unaware of the ministry, and if they are struggling with their situation, they tend to be grateful for the assistance. We don't anticipate issues, but we are prepared for them just in case.
Right.
Your orders, therefore, are to establish whether these events are miscasts, and if they are, to take the action in accordance with any relevant laws concerning the extramundane. Should there be any uncertainty about said laws, go to the nearest phone line, call the chapter house, and ask to speak to the Preternatural Criminality and Justice Department.
I hope someone wrote that down. What the
I don't need phone.
Tanny says, waiting for a character called Mrs. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Actually, that was my wife's name.
Next session.
Sorry, what was the thing he told us to call?
The Preternatural Criminality and Justice Department.
Criminality and Justice Department. My pencil!
Was that in character? Or...
No, that was out of character. I dropped my pencil. I left my notebook in such a way that the page was slightly kind of like curled up, so it created a sort of cushion. So I threw my pencil down. It bounced off and down behind my TV.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It was quite impressive, actually.
One of those things you couldn't have done if you were trying.
Yeah.
My advice to you...
Mm-hmm.
Tanny says, rip Sean's pencil.
I don't rip it. That's not going to help.
Mr. Pilgrim says, my advice to you is to begin your investigations by visiting Anne Granger at number 77 and have some sort of a cover story to explain your presence.
That's the woman who had her home invaded, wasn't it?
Yes.
Or was it someone else? Yeah, right. So just yeah, that's fine.
You smart one, come up with something.
Me? I'm
No, smart one.
Perhaps the more talkative members of the group should handle this, not you, Mr. Kaisilian. No offense, of course. Perhaps Ms. Padaluck and I should handle the talking of the matter.
Yes, I was going to say I'm not very one for.
Quick question, sir. How do we hide the rather large scalied member?
I am good at hiding. I can, especially good because of you.
Okay, well, so long as that's covered.
He'll have a hood.
Oh, good. Oh, that's covered. Wonderful. Didn't think of a hood.
I also have hat if necessary.
Oh, wonderful. Hood and a hat.
Weatherby, Puddleduck, if you need any equipment or uniforms for your cover, the quartermaster can be found in the basement.
Perfect, thank you.
Do we want to go police officers or do we want to go reporters, journalists?
I'd say journalists.
I don't know. She changed her story, so maybe she would be very willing to talk to anyone about that. It would be more better to be someone authoritative. I'm just
authoritative, yes.
I mean, there is a war on. It might be military intelligence.
Might be a smart idea.
That's fair.
Good question whether the Pale Man was a German spy.
Or the Luftwaffe could have dropped something to make sure that the food all went off.
All very
That
good
is
options.
true.
Those crowds are crafty after all.
Indeed.
What?
Sorry, I'm just thinking how ridiculously 40s this is. Jerry's getting into everything, Gary.
Tanny has said go to SW34. That might have an entry.
This is not the blue room, I don't care.
Finally, says Mr. Pilgrim most emphatically, I must remind you that the extramundane must be hidden from the public at all costs, if at all possible.
We are aware of this.
If
necessary.
You kind of drill it into our heads every time we have one of these things.
Yes.
To kill, I understand.
If there is a way to help someone rationalize what they saw, then that's the best thing. Good luck with your mission. Head down to the basement to requisition anything you might need, and then head to the garage.
Thank you.
Fine. We go.
We go.
And turns around and walks out the door.
All edgily.
Gets up and nods to Mr. Pilgrim and turns around, and then as we're about to get to the door out, quickly turns around.
And tells back we need key for this, and scratches at the collar around his throat.
Yes, perhaps I would take the key for that if it's at all possible.
Speak with Sergeant Locke.
Wonderful.
What a fitting name.
He didn't choose it.
Is his...
I gathered it probably was his parents. I thought,
There is one thing that keeps coming up with the Ministry. Nominative determinism is very powerful here.
Right.
Obviously, I understand what that is, but for the others in the group...
The name of...
the name of a person happens to be kind of what their job is.
Ah, okay. Well, thank you. I mean, obviously I knew that, but...
Our words matter not. To Locke.
Let's go.
Onwards!
Onwards to Lucky Boy.
For great justice!
Dan just starts walking down the corridor yelling out,
God,
Locke, Locke.
Just grabbing everyone by the shirt, he goes past, Locke! Locke!
Are you Locke? Is this person Locke? Are you...
Sergeant Locke is the quartermaster and can be found in the basement.
I love my office, I do.
He is...
It's not the most secure part of the building. It's got several.
He is a well-groomed ex-army sergeant in a wheelchair with no legs. He doesn't have legs. The wheelchair doesn't have legs either, to be clear. The wheelchair has wheels. That's how they work.
Wait, what? Slow down.
He in wheelchair. He is a double amputee, victim of the war. He doesn't.
Parts.
This war or the previous?
The great one.
The Great War.
The great one, okay.
Great, let's be honest. It was okay at best.
Mediocre at best.
He wasn't too fond of it.
I don't know, I wasn't around for it.
He is sporting a well-groomed white moustache. That it looks like he might have had since the Great War. Good day, agents.
Hello there.
Sergeant Locke, I'm here to requisition the key for Tandrake's...
Yes, of course. And he rolls himself over to a desk. I assume you will be...
I know you said he's in a wheelchair, but I still imagine he's on the floor. Like, I don't know why.
Are we awful people? Yes.
Oh, definitely.
I'm allowed to make jokes. I'm disabled. It's fine.
Okay.
That's how I justify it in my brain.
He rolls over to the desk and he pulls out the key and places it on the desk, and then he pulls out three clipboards, and he hands them all to Charles. Now, if you'll just sign here and here.
What does this mean? Under penalty of death?
Don't ignore that.
It means that they'll kill you if you do something
And
wrong.
this here where it says death and dismemberment may happen if angered. Is this?
That is him.
Okay, yes, fine, I sign it.
Oh, free dental, thanks.
And then just on here, this one, here and here. And then here.
Oh, after 20 years of service, a gold watch. Oh.
Yes.
It's about a coupon.
Ignore that, that's not important.
Okay.
Do you need anything else?
Yes, well, we would like some. I'm losing Charles's voice just to my natural Ponzi voice. Curse you, normal Ponzi voice. Yes,
Do you have food?
we do require, rations. We're not sure how long we'll be out there. Some money to be able to purchase things on site, as well as a few uniforms and costumes. Miss Puddleduck has a better idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Miss Puddleduck, what uniforms do you require?
What did we say?
Military intelligence, I think we were going for.
I think we're going like military. I think we should have a couple in case we need to change. I think we should go like have military, police.
Anything that defines us as military intelligence would be very useful.
I will go and see what we have in your size. All 4 of you, or?
Yes, and a nice hat for the dragon.
Yes, that could be useful.
You can just hear in the next room over some very loud Scottish swear words. What do you mean he wants a hat? Bloody
Just
dragon.
do it.
Unless you, obviously, Sergeant Locke, you are quite a wise gentleman. You've been around the block, as they say. Do you know of a potential better way to hide a somewhat large dragon?
He rolls over to another desk. In the wheelchair, to be clear.
I get it, that's where my brain went, leave me alone.
He opens a drawer, and he takes out a clipboard. And he hands you the clipboard.
Right.
Hold this in front of his face.
That would not be useful.
He's just always going to carry on like a broadsheet paper. He's just always
Yes, I have one of those.
got a copy of The Guardian. He's very into it.
Give me that. He points to a scarf in the corner.
This is going to be the hardest part, is how do we disguise the dragon short of...
He rolls over to the scarf and he hooks it off the hook and he hands it.
This will suffice so long as it is not too tight.
This is the sergeant's scarf. He's just really scared by the dragon. He's like, yeah, you can have it, it's fine.
You better not rip it.
Yes.
Lovely scarf.
It is blue and grey.
It might be a bit rotten when you get it back.
Well, how about we take the scarf off before anything frosty happens?
Ravenclaw, oh.
I didn't mean from our mission.
And you can hear more Scottish swearing from the next room over.
More irate Scottish.
Dragon Martin, what you doing, you mother? What do you mean he wants that? You can't.
Bloody dragon, I forgot that he bloody melts everything he touches.
Do you have any dragon leather? That will suffice. I cannot rot.
They bring in 4 suitcases, and inside each of the suitcases is a perfectly suited, perfectly sized, and well-fitting uniform that denotes you as high-ranking military officials.
Looks around inside case. What as spacious as the most.
We tend to avoid those now.
Someone got trapped in one for several years. We lost the key. We don't know if he's still alive.
Well, that's
Trapped
why,
in suitcase.
that's why you just lock.
It's we still haven't found Schrodinger after that.
Hey, didn't.
Well, at least his cat's all right.
No, the cat's
Wow.
the cat might also be in the case.
Oh no! I thought it was. I thought. Who have you been looking after?
I remember.
Whose cat is this then?
Pulls a cat out of the pocket.
Where the bloody hell did this come from then?
Was poison still
We don't actually know until we open the case.
It's better we don't.
Don't
Because I'm
open
thinking
case.
right now.
Poison bad.
I mean, sometimes if you get a good hit near the blocks.
I believe we're getting distracted. Schrodinger's going to be fine. He's been there 3 years already. He'll survive another 4.
I mean, he did pack a lot of snacks.
Well, snacks are good.
At the very least, I think, according to his experiments, he is currently both alive and dead. So that's good for him. Or was it the other way round?
How is this possible? Tell me.
I do feel we are getting rather distracted from the mission here, which is the top priority.
Yes, quite, of course.
Color.
I will take off your collar when we get when it is required.
You head to the garage
Yes.
of the ministry,
Why are you so nervous about a garage? Yeah.
and you find your standard issue Austin 8,
Oh boy!
and you pile inside. Who is driving?
I just googled what the Austin 8 looks like. That is a classy vehicle.
Does
Can
roof
drive.
come off?
Yeah, has anyone taken?
No, I took navigation.
I
Would
don't
crash
drive.
and die.
Yeah.
Apparently, you will fail the first step of getting to the adventure.
Tan gets in driver's seat.
Oh, would you look at that? I have 1 point in driving.
Hooray!
Tan gets in driver's seat.
Literally
Pulls
one
his hole in roof.
We might want to move Tan from the driver's seat then.
Yes, might I suggest the boot? It's a joke. It's a joke.
Well, your jokes are horrendous. Stop.
I didn't get it.
Don't worry. It was, perhaps Mr. Caecilian should pilot the vehicle. I'm sure you'll be more than capable of it. However, it is. You've only got a provisional, I'm afraid, sir.
Tan goes to boot.
No, that was I opened the door for him. There you are. There.
What is joke?
It is a humorous exchange between 2 fellows, a bit of jest.
Our line of work has no time for jokes.
Yes, obviously not. Anyway, shall we pop in the car and?
Yes, that is a plan.
Tan gets in back seat.
Oh wait, you're the navigation person, aren't you?
I
I'm
am,
gonna
yes.
be stuck in the back seat with him.
Quite good. I have no idea where I'm going.
Yeah, most awkward back seat ever. Just me sitting next to a dragon.
Oh, I love it.
So
Now, as
Funny.
he keeps sniffing around me. It's making me uncomfortable.
I think it means he's trying to greet you.
Right now, I'm gonna turn this car around.
as you guys may or may not know, the road signs have all been taken down.
Road work ahead. Yeah, I sure hope it does.
I don't understand.
Get that meme in there.
All of the road signs, all of the navigational road signs have been taken down in an effort to stop German spies being able to navigate.
Oh.
Actually, accurate.
Thereby, there aren't any signs pointing the way to Cambridge.
Shit.
I really need some help here.
I'll help you, don't worry.
So who
Supervised for nap.
is navigating?
I've got a 3 navigation.
Could you make me a knowledge test?
How do I do that?
Roll me a d10, and if you roll under the number of your knowledge plus navigation, you succeed in navigationing.
Hang on a sec. Knowledge is 4 plus navigation is 7. So... Nice!
You
The first roll of the night was unsuccessful.
you manage to drive for about 2.5 hours.
Again, just me and Tan in the back seat, super awkward next to each other.
Your leg.
I don't
More room.
I just don't have much space. It's fine.
It takes you about 2.5 hours, but you eventually arrive at Mill Road,
Right.
which is in Cambridge.
Kind of brakes a little bit too hard.
Tan is now in front seat.
Literally just picked you up out of your seat and put you somewhere else.
Tan doesn't wear a seatbelt.
That's what
I
he's
tried-
trying to do. Are there seatbelts?
I would assume so.
You'd be surprised.
Early car may not.
Well, the standard 3-point seatbelt was invented in 1959.
So no.
Oh.
2 point.
So that was the first seatbelt was invented in March 1910.
So yeah, we have seatbelts.
So you'd have a seatbelt that is across the waist.
At the very least, rudimentary.
Dogs, at least.
But yes, they when were they actually
A thing.
a thing that was required is a thing that is
It's a useful thing to know.
It is. Someone outside my window is saying hilarious.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Sausages.
Having a nice barbecue.
Wolves.
Don't think about food yet.
No barbecue.
We can eat after the mission, alright?
If anything, does anyone just smell a lot of rotten vegetables?
Oh, there should be some somewhere.
That might be me.
I sincerely hope it's not you.
When
Oh
I
God!
do
Crack a
gamble,
window.
I excrete an unpleasant odor to your kind.
Yes, I see that.
I have a rather sensitive nose.
It is a rather fascinating smell, yes.
You have sensitive feelings as well, you dick.
Wow!
So long as it doesn't touch
Hey Charles, fuck you!
Charles, you twat.
Have no fear, so long as it don't touch you, it is only smell and
Alright.
not harmful.
Right then.
so you arrive at number 77 Mill Road.
I hope
Where
we got
is the
changed at
mill?
some point.
Yeah, do we need to go and find someone to get changed?
Or
Or do we
we
get changed where we went?
changed in the car.
I mean, that's up to you guys. Do you want to have... Would you
would-
guys like to have changed back at the chapter house before you
Yes,
left?
Yes, please.
Probably would have been better.
The less chances of me seeing a naked dragon, the better.
Do not count yourself lucky.
I will strip whenever necessary.
I will strip at a moment's notice to distract our enemy.
My radiance is dangerous.
Oh my
Is
god.
that what you call it?
I give danger hugs.
Well then.
So number 77 is the middle house in a short row of red brick houses.
Right. I believe the best course of action here is if Ms. Puddleduck and I were to go ahead. Mr. Drake and Mr. Caecilian, if you wait in the vehicle, and if we have need of you, we shall let it be known through some sort of bird call.
I wonder what it could be.
I don't know what it could possibly be, but if there were to be some sort of bird call, it would be the hint that you should come along, and there's a bit of a scrap.
Maybe it's kakara.
It's kararara.
Then no wait.
Well, I just believe that having four of us turn up randomly, one of us being a dragon, might somewhat scare
Put them off, yes.
So, I think the situation less is more. I pass the key to Caecilian. If you hear us call, unlock his neck and get around as fast as your legs can carry you.
We would be faster if we were there.
Yes, it would be faster, but less efficient. So,
Yes, of course, yes.
wonderful.
You smell of fear.
Mr. Caecilian, I want you to understand something very clear now.
Hmm?
I do not wish you any ill will. However, if you unlock him early, I will be very, very disappointed in you.
I will be forced to put you down.
I will have words with our superiors, and I will not be giving you any level of recommendation. I don't want to have to threaten such a heinous act, but I will do that.
Well, okay, that's fine.
Wonderful. Just so long as we're on the same page, right?
Yes.
I struggle to undo my seatbelt. Like, fuck, gag! Ah!
You pull that thing.
I know how to do a seatbelt.
Tan
I'm
helps.
sure you do. Let's
Tan
just go.
removes glove and touches seatbelt and ruts it.
The seatbelt instantly splits in two.
Well, see, now we're not going to get the deposit back on the car, are we? Honestly, no sense of decorum amongst you.
The
fucking
seatbelt
fantastic.
no longer claims you.
Okay, look. I appreciate it. It was very kind of you. But a little thought before action will save us a lot of bother in the future, won't it, lad?
You can almost hear from here still. You can almost hear from here still the Scottish swearing.
Now I've got to repair a bloody car as well.
You destroyed my fucking seatbelt!
Yeah, how hard it is to get seatbelts that can hold a bloody dragon.
Oh my god.
Anyway, number 77.
Yes, I believe Ms. Puddleduck and I will be heading off.
Yes.
Don't go too far, and keep the engine running. Or wait, no, don't keep the engine running. I don't know which is better, I'll be honest.
We can take it out.
No, do not. No, absolutely not. Under no circumstances are you to remove anything from this vehicle apart from yourselves. And that's only if you hear the call. Right, I believe we've covered this enough. Let's move on. Just as I'm walking towards the house with Ms. Puddleduck, I just go, I don't think they've got that at all. I really don't.
You frogman. You won't measure my fate.
Yes.
Take off collar.
God damn it!
Oh.
Immediately, I knew this was going to happen.
No, I must be good.
I'm a good boy.
Right, Ms. Puddleduck, who is going
Anyway.
who will be bad cop?
You.
I'm bad cop?
I'm not in the mood to be bad cop today.
If a car, I can be bad cop.
I'm in the middle of a bad cop, you wanker.
Yeah. Sounded pretty bad cop in the car, but whatever.
I think your attitude is more efficient today to be bad cop.
No, I'm just having a bit of a stressful time.
Yes,
The dragon took up all of the legroom in the vehicle.
well, even so, just put up with it.
Bad cop, right.
Bad cop.
Urgh.
Don't make that noise ever again.
I just, I don't get too angry. I want to keep a little bit calm.
Yes, don't go off the rails.
I just go to the door and just...
And after a few minutes, a woman opens the door. Yes?
Good evening, madam. We are from the military intelligence. May we come in? And I just immediately passed her.
Yes, by all... Is it about my husband?
Your
I
husband?
don't know, is it?
What's that for your husband?
Your husband is here. Charles, why?
Get the gun!
My husband is in Africa with the army.
No, nothing to do with that.
No, not at all.
Ah, right, okay.
I just want to start, looking around, I'm not looking for anything, I'm just making it look like I'm looking for stuff.
You're looking at things.
Yeah. And I'm just invading as much of this pool of space as humanly possible. I'm opening every drawer, every cupboard, rearranging, books on the shelf.
Picking important stuff up, putting it a different place.
Yeah. Reading the paper, doing the crossword, putting it back down. I'm not even doing the crossword right. I'm just putting random letters. I don't know how crosswords work.
Excuse me. Could you maybe not do that?
Terribly sorry. We're just having a look around. I hope you don't mind. I continue. You don't care if you mind.
And she turns to see the companion you brought with you, and is, can you make him stop?
I don't think, sir, what we're doing here is efficient. You might want to put that down. Let's get to the matter at hand.
Right,
What?
of course. I slammed whatever I was... whatever I was looking
That.
Now apologize.
You're right, yes, you should apologize for trying to tell me what to do, madam.
Look, anyways.
What? Why are you here?
I don't know. Why are we here, bad cop?
Well, it just... we've had reports of a pale thing.
I really shouldn't.
Why shouldn't you?
I really shouldn't have said anything.
No? Why? Do the bosses across the Thames know what... across the Channel know what you were saying? Is that why?
No, people will think I'm crazy.
Well, quite frankly, it's either crazy or a spy, so tell us, which is the truth?
Be honest.
Would you both make me awareness tests?
I would in 2 seconds.
And if you have any appropriate skills.
I've got criminology?
Because I've got kinesthetics, so I'm good at reading body language. Would that help in this?
I will allow the use of kinesthetics.
Kinesthetics.
Yes, that.
I don't think I do have anything.
So do I assume that is a fail?
Mine's a fail. Unless criminology counts, but I doubt it does.
No, not for this.
Then no.
Well, that's a fail.
By any chance, does that fail by more than 4?
No.
By more than what, sir?
4.
No, it doesn't. Only fails by 2.
For Charles.
I have 2 awareness and 2 kinesthetics, so 4. So yes, it does.
Oof.
Quite a fair amount, actually.
Jesus Christ.
She just up and shoots you.
I think I should have put more in my main stats.
So basically, one of the things with this game is if you succeed at something by more than 4, you have a stunning success.
I believe I've had the opposite of that.
In which case, the thing that you are trying to do, you do incredibly well. For instance, if you'd had a stunning success at the navigation, you would have remembered the roadworks that you got stuck in and been able to shave off half an hour on the trip. If you'd rolled the opposite of that, which they call in this game a dreadful failure, you would have ended up in the wrong city, having taken a wrong turn.
Knocking at number 77 somewhere else and just harassing a poor.
We ended up in Germany.
How did we get here?
How did I get here?
The end.
So I'm now trying to work out what a dreadful failure for this test is.
Instead of knocking at 77, we knock at Cyber to Leipzig.
What I'm going to say, Michael, is that
I'm great.
God damn it.
Charles, while putting rather heavily the statue that he had been holding down on the side, a small child darts through the room and trips you up, and you just onto the ground.
Oh, bother! That's.
Oh, you're right.
I'm fine.
I'm dreadfully sorry. That's young Marcus. He
And who would that be?
it's one of my children.
Oh.
He's one of my children. My husband and I have 3 children.
3 children.
It's we're all very worried about him.
Yes, that is understandable.
If
Hey, good cop. Perhaps we find out something about our husband if she does us a favor.
Alright, just let it carry on.
but I really shouldn't have said anything about. I made a mistake mentioning the pale man to the police because people will think I'm crazy if I must have still been dreaming. And I mean, it's difficult enough as it is working and having 3 children, and my husband is away, and worse yet, next door, number 79, Jack Timerson and his friends are up late, drunk, making a lot of noise.
Listen. Any suspicions, no matter crazy or not, must be reported. It can be very efficient, even if it does seem crazy. Anything during this war will aid us greatly.
Okay, fine. On the night of Monday the 14th, at about midnight, I woke up to see a translucent man in Victorian clothing stood over my bed. He looked confused and scared, and he reached out, and I put my arms up, and he gripped my wrist, and it was so cold it burned. And she draws back the cuff of her blouse, and there is a burn mark in her skin.
Wow.
I screamed and closed my eyes, and then he just disappeared. I mean, if the burn wasn't still here, I would have just... I would assume that I'd just dreamt it. But now I don't know what to think.
This man, did he seem to be walking in? Did he say anything? Did he go anywhere? Or did he just vanish into thin air?
He just looked... he just looked confused and scared, and then he disappeared when I had my eyes closed.
Did he look familiar at all?
No, he was wearing Victorian clothing. He looked very peculiar.
May we have a look into your room? Just for signs of breaking an entry, of course, in case this is one of your neighbours having a bit of a joke on you.
I wouldn't be useful.
I suppose so.
One, thank you. You also might pop in the kettle on. I feel a spot of tea might do us all some good.
I suppose it would calm us all down.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Get us somehow. I will go up the stairs and towards. If that's I walk towards the bedroom, wherever it may be.
She directs you that it is at the... From the front door, the stairs are on the left, and her bedroom is on the right side of the terrace.
Wonderful. I will go up there. Will you be joining me?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, obviously.
No, we go up together, skipping gaily as we do.
We're not skipping.
But we could.
You may skip all you like, but just know I would be reporting you for professionalism.
No, I'm very proper. I start looking around the room, seeing if I can find any evidence of like ectoplasm, anything.
Do we investigate?
Yes. Do you have any of the following skills?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, that was an accident.
That's not on the list.
I have 3 levels in.
It's one of my skills.
Phantasmology, arcane lore, or being an evocationist.
No.
I do believe we left the wrong.
What's that? You left the person with both arcane law and
we probably... Right, how do we get him here without... Because I don't want to leave the dragon unattended.
maybe bring the dragon in too?
That's a terrible... No, this...
Would you like me to go back to the car and swap out with him?
Yeah, I think let's just have a little rotor change.
All right. I will return.
Goes, I could have sworn there was a woman up.
No, you're dreaming again, woman.
I will return to the car and I will knock on the window for Frogmorton.
Winds window down. Yes.
Frogmorton, your expertise is needed up there. I think I should stay here with Tan.
Okay. You get some power.
Oh, wait. Dragon King, do not wait.
Well, we will keep ourselves occupied for now, alright?
Key.
Walks into a house.
Oh yeah, give me the key, please.
Gives key to
Here and there.
here and there.
This puddle duck.
Everyone else has their name. I don't know. So yeah, I entered the house.
Duck woman.
I'm there waiting for you.
Hello.
Yes. I believe that something of your area of expertise is involved. May you join me upstairs? The lady of the house is currently putting on a pot of tea as well. So.
Lovely. Okay. Follows upstairs.
Sean.
Yes.
Could you make me a knowledge test?
Knowledge test.
and you can add your highest of Phantasmology, Arcane Law, or Evocationist.
I don't have Phantasmology. Evocation is 5, so I'm going to add that. So I'm looking for a 9. So let's roll 1d10. Really?
Nice. Well, not nice, but nice.
Well,
that same kid.
No, yours isn't a spectacular failure.
yeah, no, yours isn't a dreadful failure. Yours is just an average failure.
You are just a normal failure. Don't worry.
Let's see if I'm just going to keep rolling 10s. I'm just curious. Hey, I'm going to hang on.
Love it.
You start looking around the woman's bedroom, Sean. Mr. Morton, Mr. Frog Morton. And you're... There's a thought that is forming at the edge of your brain, and it just dissipates, and you can't quite grasp the thought.
It's something odd, but I can't put my finger on it.
I was aware there was something odd. That's why I called you here. Is there anything I could do to make this easier for you? Tea help? I can rush her along.
Tea might help.
I shall rush along the lady of the house.
I shall rush the lady. Woman of house, make more tea!
Bring the tea!
Michael.
I'm having to roll to get down the stairs. Am I going to die on these stairs? I get buffeted by another child and break my neck going down the flight.
Would you be so kind as to roll me a knowledge test?
Oh, no, I don't want to do that at all. Just a plain old knowledge.
Yes.
Good. This is gonna go great. I have 2 knowledge, so...
A thought starts to form in your head, but
A thought?
it dissipates.
Wait,
And then you go get some tea.
right.
Maybe tea will help my roll.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, nothing could make it worse. I've yet to roll a single success.
That'll be fun soon.
Let's go to the lady's house. Yes, how is the tea coming along?
I have tea. I've got 3 cups, and I've found they've not gone off some biscuits.
Tea and biscuits. That'll make me roll successfully.
Thank you very much. I take teacups and thank you very much. I grab the whole pack of biscuits. I shall be back.
Okay.
I come into the room. Right, I was the bad cop. I took all the biscuits. Here's your tea.
Sips tea while looking around.
Sean, could you retry the test?
Please, for the love of God.
You get a plus
we
one.
go!
You get a +1 tea bonus.
I would love it if that had been another 10.
I was after a 9. I got a 2.
So technically, this is a stunning success.
Thank you, tea.
But seeing as it's also to override the fact that we had a failure, I'm just going to let that sort of cancel itself out.
Regular success.
Tanny says, ask the lady for an extra milky and 2 spoonfuls of sugar. Yes, Tanny, basically, with this, you've got a score that you are trying to score below. You've got a value, and you're trying to score under it to be successful.
I was adding my knowledge to my evocation, which made a 9. I had to get a 9 or lower. Of course, my first roll was a 10.
Bloody 10.
Sean, thoughts coalesce in Frogmorton's brain, and
The cup is halfway to lips. It's just
Use your words.
suddenly gets excited.
you realise that spirits, such as the Victorian man that has been described to you, could be or can be summoned when somebody attempts to cast a spell and fails. But that would only take place over a very narrow area. So either they were in the house
Or they were very
or next door.
Sometimes, if someone has failed to cast a spell, they'll sometimes summon these spirits, and it's only over a very, very, very small area. So they were either here, in the house, or they were in one of the houses next door.
What sort of things would they need to do this spell, you speak of?
If they're not trained, it could be anything, really. They may not have meant to do it.
What would we be looking for?
What we would be looking for.
In theory, if somebody had the wrong books,
Someone had the wrong books.
it might work. If somebody had a mystical artifact, it might be bad.
Right.
So they may have picked up some odd artifact which may have caused them to start spewing out magic, and or they could have picked up a book and read a little too deeply into it, and
Okay, so it could be either here or the neighbor's house.
either in this house or any, because you said it was a middle house, wasn't it?
This is a row of houses.
So
And there are houses either side.
there's
Yes.
three potential buildings. Right, I believe we should head back to the car, split up, or rather do this door to door, but let us instruct the lady of this house to not leave. We fear there might be a German spy about, and we need to find evidence of his whereabouts.
Sean, you suspect from the location of the bedroom in the house that it would only be number 79.
Judging from where the room is in comparison to it, I think it must be 79.
Right. Let us still inform the woman to stay here, inform her it's potentially a German spy that caused all this.
German spy, don't panic.
And we'll go get the dragon and Ms. Puddleduck, and we shall head over to number 79.
Right.
So I go down the stairs. I go.
Finish his tea.
I pass to the rest of the biscuits. Thank you very much. There seems to be evidence that I would just say perhaps you and the children should stay in this room. Shut the doors.
Okay.
And wait for us to return. We believe might have been a German spy here last night, and that's what's caused all this ruckus.
Last night?
Monday, and he's been hiding around.
Oh, my word.
Yes, precisely. So do just stay in here. If you hear anything, it's us probably searching or having found the spy. It might get violent. So I'd rather you stay safe. Keep your children safe as well. Keep them safe in here.
Marcus, Jean, third child.
Larry, Bill, Malcolm,
Other one.
Jean, fucking Sally.
Keep them safe.
15 names.
I will either myself or one of my colleagues will come back and alert you when the deed has been done and it is safe to come out of this room.
Okay.
I just rest my hand on the shoulder. My dear, you do not have anything to worry about. We are highly trained specialists.
Wasn't there a... Who's that?
That's my other colleague. He's the forensic expert.
Yes, sorry, they called me and I was in the car.
Okay.
As I said, we are part of a highly trained team. Obviously, we are after a spy, so the less said about this, the better. And I sort of give her like a little conspiratorial, like, don't say anything.
Kind of
Okay.
taps her nose awkwardly.
Yeah, be careful. All right. Like what? I give her
Loose
a little sense.
loose lips sink ships.
Precisely, my dear. Precisely. I pat her on the shoulder and I turn around and leave.
I mean, bombs and torpedoes do that too.
Okay, you be quiet.
Yes. Yeah.
My dear, thank you very much. We will endeavour to sort this out, and then perhaps we can. I'll send you a missive about your husband. Right.
And from outside, you hear a large metallic crunch.
Oh, for God's sakes. Tan! You do realise you might not be fed now that that's happened.
My dear, pay no attention to that. Our car has been having issues lately. That's all that is. Don't worry. Keep your children safe in here. Remember, German spy. Cheerio. I shut the door.
Yes, torpedoes and bombs sink ships.
Quiet.
Tan sees you exit building. Make Tan wait again.
Okay, listen, Mr. Drake. You are really getting on my nerves.
As are you.
What part of subtlety do you not understand, you dull? Oh. Breathe.
Can we not have infighting, please? Whilst I also do not approve of Mr. Drake's actions, it can be fixed.
Yes. Well, we have to go to number 79.
Froghorn's just kind of like not paying any attention to what's happening. He's just like kind of looking at 79.
Which one, 79?
The ones with the 7 and the 9 on, you idiotic creature.
What is 7 and 9?
They're numbers.
How long have you been here? How did you pass any of the exams?
He didn't. He was captured.
They use me. I get free.
Well,
Did you not go to school?
if you want to get free, that means you should listen to what the people in charge are saying. Such as, stay in the car.
If I get free, it is by getting rid of this. Scratch's color again.
Miss Puddleduck, give me the key.
Gives key.
I put the key in my pocket, very like a, and you're never going to get the bloody key.
Anyways, let us be off.
Shall we look at 79 then?
Let's
Yes.
look at 79.
Number 79 is the house next door to Anne Granger's, and it is clearly not very well maintained. The ground floor curtains are currently pulled shut.
As I sort of look around, I'm just like, no, very improper.
This is very odd.
Tan opens door.
No, it's probably, Jesus Christ.
Crunch!
Go to 20. You say go 7-9.
Excuse me, what the bloody hell do you Oh, sorry, that's the wrong voice entirely. What bloody hell you think you're doing, mate?
Sorry, sir, I get out my identification. My gentleman was merely trying to knock, and apparently he's got a bit stronger than we thought. Pleased to meet you. I am a member of the Military Intelligence Service.
Could you bloody keep it down?
Of course, sir. We just need to have a look inside, that's all. I push past.
Oh, fine.
Walks past. Hello. Walks past.
Must you all come in?
Yes, we must.
Yes, we
Tan
must.
walks in and stares at man.
Mr. Drake, Mr. Caecilian, if you could start looking around.
Just looking at. Just really trying to look at books and anything kind of odd knick-knack wise.
What Tan look for?
Anything out of the ordinary, Mr. Drake?
What is ordinary?
A book.
Not you.
Mr. Caecilian, if you could just assist Mr. Drake.
I'll just kind of like it's kind of like going this. The guy picks up a encyclopedia. This normal. If this
What
was
are
a book,
they?
if this was a book on necromancy, not normal.
Good sir, what
Dan
is...
points at the words. What are they?
Oh my word.
We're gonna be here all night.
Can I suggest that maybe he makes sure on guards?
Mr. Drake, please stand at the doorway and make sure nobody gets in or out.
Okay.
Except we are allowed to go in and out.
We're allowed to go in and out. This gentleman, no, he can't leave.
Anyone that wasn't in the
He
car with us.
can't leave. Grabs the gentleman.
Do it!
You can't leave.
Okay,
I have no wish to leave at the moment. I was sleeping.
can you let the gentleman go, please, Mr. Drake?
Sit him on that chair. Sit him
I
on that
put
chair and
him
make sure he's
outside.
Hell, you!
No, we need him inside.
Okay, grab him. Put him inside.
Oh, you...
Sit him on that armchair and make sure he doesn't get up from that armchair unless we say he can.
Okay. Grab him. Put on armchair.
Yo!
Hold on armchair.
Right then, as you can see, my name is Mr. Weatherby. My colleague here is Ms. Puddleduck. What's your name, sir?
I'm...
Answer.
I am Mr. Ned
I'm...
Carlsberg.
I'm Jack Timerson. I was asleep.
Mr. Timerson, I'm very sorry, but we have had reports of a German spy in the area. We must just having to search all the neighbouring houses to ensure that there is no sign of his whereabouts here.
Yes.
Bombs to straw houses.
Yes, they do.
So we are terribly sorry for this inconvenience, but it must be done. As I'm sure you are aware, we don't want the Germans getting any spies involved.
Just make it bloody quick, will you? I work nights.
My apologies, sir. If you work nights, what time is it now?
It's the middle of the day.
Okay, fine.
You smell sweet.
What do you do? Out of curiosity, sir.
Please just keep looking. We're not here to make
I'm looking. I'm just making small talk.
We're not here to make big small talk.
Well, I'm just asking because you may have a very interesting job, sir.
I work on the railway.
Railway.
Wonderful. There. Mystery solved. Keep searching.
Would you guys, who are searching,
Yeah.
like to make me awareness checks?
I would love to.
Thank God I'm not.
Awareness and anything else, or just aware?
If you've got any relevant stats.
Oh, fuck my life.
I have awareness. I have awareness for
Evocation,
mythology.
arcane law, academic subject.
Nothing.
I will give you arcane lore.
Ooh, arcane law. Okay then. So I am on 3 plus. I'm on 6. 6 exactly.
Will I do one for mythology?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm busy being the talky.
Being a busybody.
I'm very
So
good
below
at.
the number, right?
Yes.
I'm very
Good.
good at what's it
My
called?
mythology.
Delegation.
My awareness with mythology is 6, so that's that pass.
So, let's see. Sean,
Yes.
Frogmorton, starts looking around the room, and, you find discarded, sort of half open, on the floor, face down, a book called De Fauna Oculata. And it is laying on top of a carpet, just in the middle of the room.
Kind of picks up the book gingerly.
As
Die.
as you pick the book up, the carpet slides to one side, and there is a chalk circle drawn on the floor.
I may have found something.
Ben,
Yes.
as Tan is holding Jack in the chair, you notice sticking out from under the chair is a large brown book that, if you could read human words, you would know said on the front of it, Folk Rituals of Anglia. However, it looks
Pick up
interesting.
pen and throw chair aside. I found book.
Oh!
Oh, Rituals of Anglia.
Book.
Well, this is quite interesting. What do you have
Why
these
you
for?
have book?
They're just books, aren't they?
Right.
I'd like to see if he's lying. How would I go about doing that?
I can
Bless you.
intimidate.
You would...
For saying I'm adorable.
Yes, you are.
You would make an awareness check.
Will I be able to add my kinesthetics?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let's have at least one.
Let's have a success!
Let's go for one success tonight, Michael. Yes! That's 4. That's what my total is.
He's not lying. He knows they are books.
And you know what? That's fair.
He saying it in such a way that he probably doesn't have a receipt for them.
He's stolen the books.
And where perhaps did you procure these books?
10 holds him higher.
Yo, me and me mates, we ripped him off from the big house on the outside of town.
And the circle? What's that about?
It was a harmless joke. We haven't touched the books since.
What happened when you did touch the books?
It was simple, right? Me and Fred and Two Pies and old Bob.
I'm confused by these names, but go on.
These sound entirely false.
We broke into the big old house and we stole a load of jewellery and silver cutlery and, bits and pieces and the funny looking books. Next day we spent the night drinking and we spoke about the books, and then the night after that was the 12th, I think. We bought the chalk and the candles from Wilson's General Goods, and then we got drinking and we tried the first ritual from Folk Rituals of Anglia. It was a cantrip to cure melodies. We couldn't pronounce the words right. And we found that everybody's foods had gone off. We just thought it was what do you call it? When the things just, happen.
Coincidence? Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
I give Caecilian a look and just go, yeah.
We know the word coincidence.
Yeah, I've read books.
So then we stopped using them, right?
Did you?
Yeah.
Why things keep happening.
Ben, at this point, can you make an influence check?
Do I get to add anything to it?
Do you have any skills that will be relevant to scaring the shit out of this man?
Tell you what I look like.
He's got 4 in I'm a fucking dragon.
I could use a bit of damaging nature, just tongue his arm.
I will give you a +3 bonus to your stat for being a fucking dragon.
A +3 for the being a fucking dragon bonus.
Let's see. And no, that's a fail. I have 6 max there, so 8 gets above.
Tanny approves of the being a fucking dragon bonus.
Oh, apparently the dragon doesn't scare.
Yeah,
Right.
that's where we
Who's
stop.
not afraid of dragons?
I do hate to say this, but unfortunately these books and those symbols, that we believe is how German spies have been communicating. So I'm afraid that you will be in quite an awful lot of trouble.
Would you like to make me an influence roll?
Yes. Can I add diplomacy?
Yes.
Or wonderful, so that's
Oh, woo.
ooh,
Woo woo.
I also failed, don't worry.
Are you fucking serious?
Fuck's sake!
We are a hot bunch of people here. We are the greatest team to have
Can I
ever
just kill him?
I don't think the Germans are using their rituals.
Well, what do you know, you bumpkin?
I say we just take him.
Nonetheless, I feel a deeper investigation into these books is required, sir.
Well, in the end, we have had evidence that strange goings on have happened after you did that one and only one ritual, which makes me think that you are to have used it more than once.
Which ritual, by way?
Would you like to make a influence roll there, Sean?
Oh God, no!
Or Miss Puddleduck?
Is that...
What was it? Influence?
Influence, and you can make an argument for any skills you might have.
I believe you guys.
Skills I've got are evocation, pistols.
Bring out a gun.
Give you strength training.
Cryptozoology, arcane law, academic
just gonna-
subject.
No, I failed.
Then again, my academic subject wouldn't really apply. Arcane law.
I mean,
know.
you can add pistols if you pull out a pistol at this point.
You won't do
We
much.
should use strength training.
We need all the help we can get. Because we are just.
Literally, I have to roll a 4 or below.
Oof.
Can I
So,
demonstrate strength training and just punch through the wall next door to him?
Give it a go, Sean.
Oh, Sean, you
so
can.
I'm. Nope.
Oh.
I should have just fucking cast a spell at him. Just fucking choke him.
No, because we have to remain hidden.
Well, he already has made the food rot. kind
Yeah,
of.
that's a coincidence. That was a coincidence. He believes it's a coincidence, so let's keep him believing it's a coincidence.
What was spell?
Was to cure mild melodies.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the fucking book that he was talking about and look at the first one.
It's a better idea. Why have we not done that yet?
Read.
While he's reading the book, I would like to look around to see if I can sort of find out where this person's hidden stuff is.
Okay. Sean,
Yes.
Frog opens the book, which is the Folk Rituals of Anglia,
Yes.
which is the one that
You apparently read from.
he read from, and also the one that Drake has revealed the location of by tearing the chair out of the corner of the room. The first ritual is a cure for mild maladies.
Cure for mild maladies.
Evidently, they
Fuck that royally.
they screwed it up completely. They did enough of it to start a casting of the spell, but
But not enough to successfully cast.
yeah, they did enough to invoke some power, but it went wrong.
Right.
Well, and would I know if this would just be would this be a lasting thing, or would this literally have been the vegetables wilt and that would have been it?
It would have been a bang and done. It would have been a once off.
So they've definitely used this again, or someone has definitely.
It is
used
safe
it.
to assume that either all of them have used them again, or one or some of them have. Other spells have been attempted.
With
There
the
are others.
yeah.
Where are the others you talk of?
You know, Pieface and whatever his name is.
Well, Fred works as a cleaner at RAF Bourne, and Two Pies, he does, odd jobs around. And old Bob, he works doing track maintenance.
So, none of them really.
They'll be back later.
Yeah.
Back later.
Well, yeah, we all live here.
Oh, wait. No, Dragonkin, no wait.
How's my search going?
Would you like to make me an awareness check?
Could I add my criminology to it? Understand criminals would give me an understanding where they would hide their things.
Yes.
Roll good!
I did! I needed a 6.
You find, discarded in the corner of the room, the Histoire of the Esoteric Treatise.
I have found another book, gentlemen.
Oh,
And lady.
any pictures?
I'm sorry, and lady, terribly sorry. Very terribly sorry about that.
And Dragonkin.
And Dragon King, yes, and gentlemen.
Why you say gentleman?
Because you're a gentleman.
Am I?
Wink.
Yes.
Wink. I pass the book to Caecilian.
I look at the book.
It is a book.
What?
I try to discern what this book is about, considering it's about treaties.
Were any of the other stolen items there?
You also find some, what else? Silver cutlery, jewellery.
That would hurt the shit out of me.
Things that look expensive and fancy.
Just open this room and it's just filled with silver.
Yeah. As I'm just moving things around, you just hear me curse loudly.
What wrong? Is that bird call?
No,
Turn coming.
some rather
Dan.
annoying things. Amongst
Dan drops the man to the floor and chases. What is?
I'm sorry, he's a bit high-strung.
Yes.
What wrong?
It's nothing. It's just
Nothing. You're alright. You're doing well.
a small scratch. That's all.
Oh, shiny.
If you were to look at me now, you would see that my eyes have got a bit more wolfy.
You smell dog. You smell man.
Yes, it's fine. It's fine. Take my hand. It's fine. I'm fine, buddy.
You don't smell like other meat bags.
I'm not quite like the other meat bags.
Timmerson will go over to Ms. Puddleduck.
Mhm.
Is the big guy foreign?
Um,
He sounds foreign.
I believe he has come from faraway parts, yes.
He's from
Yes.
Turkey. Just kind of shrugs. Turkey! It's far enough away.
At this point, would you guys like to try and intimidate the man again to get some answers from him?
Not really, no.
I'm looking at this book that Charles just handed me.
Okay.
I'll give a go. With my annoyance about the silver, we've got a bit more angry.
Okay, so what skill are you going to attempt to employ this time?
Influence plus my claws. No.
I tear his throat out. Is he intimidated?
Are you intimidated now?
Gargle, gargle, spurt, spurt. Expire.
Would I be able to use any of like my combat experience to sort of appear tougher?
Yes.
Wonderful. That makes me have a 7, so that's good.
So roll that or lower.
I've rolled that or lower.
Yay!
So you come out of the kitchen.
Yeah, I come out like just like slamming it. Like I am furious right now, and I just grab him. Right, listen here, you. You're going to tell us exactly what's been going on, or I will make sure that they never find your body.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not the same as other.
Okay, Carl. The next day, all right, the 13th, we did more drinking, because, you know, it's what we do. And
I think you've got problems.
We are not here for life advice. Keep talking.
I'm not
We-
worried about how he's getting that during rationing, really, but
we had a
Oh, never mind that.
we had a crack at cantrip that the book said it would make dogs do what we said. We tried it on Two Pies Terrier, but it had no effect on him. And
that was the night that all the dogs started barking.
then we blacked out.
Blacked out.
Well, we all got real drunk, so we all kind of. And then we heard about it. It must have been another, you know,
Another coincidence.
yeah, one of them things.
I slam him against the wall again. And the next day,
What then? Then we was getting worried, right? That maybe, you know, we'd been hearing things about town, and so we thought we've got to try and fix it, right? Yeah, we'd maybe, you know, we thought maybe we'd done something, and so we decided that one of them books has a thing for, you know, warding off evil spirits. So we did that.
It's kind of like rifling through the books trying to find the spell he probably tried.
And, well, I mean, I guess maybe we didn't say the words right, or draw the symbols right, or whatnot. And, some guy showed up.
describe him.
He was wearing real old timey clothes, right? He was
Meanwhile, from the kitchen.
what's happening in there?
Never mind that.
I just slam him back in the wall. Don't worry about that. Keep answering my question.
Turkish tradition.
Well, old Bob, right? He got all these burns on his arm while he pushed the man away, and we agreed to stop using the books then, and we did. We stopped. Right, we stopped. We didn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was meant to be fun, wasn't it?
Well, it clearly hasn't been fun.
You
I just look at him.
just
He's
he's
fine.
trying desperately not to say the things he wants to say because it's going to go against what the ministry wants.
Right. You were going to wait here. My colleagues and I have a discussion about what to do with Mr. Drake.
Yes. As he pick his teeth with silver knife.
I just sort of shudder. Ensure that this gentleman doesn't go anywhere.
Okay. Pick up, man.
Right.
But
Don't hurt him.
Mm,
Caecilian,
okay.
Miss Puddle Duck.
Yes.
I gesture to the kitchen so we can talk in a somewhat private manner.
Goes into the kitchen. He's confused by speaking French.
What? Oh dear. Right. Right. What do we do about this?
Well, the other two spells seem to have done their thing and stopped, but at the same time, it would be an idea to check to make sure that they've stopped. I mean, the dogs, I'm assuming they're not barking now. They're not still barking. So
The man smells very scared.
I feel we've made a mistake leaving the dragon alone in a room with a strumming guy, but you know what? We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Well,
I'm
you told me
willing to
now
try it.
he's Turkish.
I've never trusted Turkish.
So it's possible that the other two have dissipated and that's it, but the fact that the spirit went into next door makes me worried that it might not have gone.
Can we make it go?
Maybe?
As I'm talking, I'm sort of like re-flattening my hair and making it trying to
Straightening suit.
yeah, just like trying to make myself look neat and tidy again. Bit of my decorum there.
So, I mean, realistically speaking, they were trying to do a spell that banished evil spirits. So, if we did it correctly, we probably could manage it. But that's if the spirit is still going around. I mean, this has been a few days. Has there been any other sightings of him?
Not that we've heard about.
At this point,
At this point, a Victorian ghost walks in.
At this point, Tan, remind me, when you say you went through the front door,
Yes.
there's not a front door left, is there?
No.
Oh no.
A man walks in through the front door,
He's got 2 pies for hand.
grins at you. He has a knuckle duster on one hand, and he just smiles and says, "Hail Hitler and God save the King."
Wow.
Is that how it goes?
And he swings at you.
That was his first mistake.
Yeah, does he not know this guy's Turkish? Like,
Yeah, that's Turkish. Kick the shit out of him.
Okay.
stream is not sponsored by Turkey.
Yeah, this stream is not sponsored by the Tourism Board of Turkey.
Other nationalities are available.
Yeah.
So, what happens then?
I need to remember how combat works.
Would you like it to hit you?
Well, I am tough as old boots. As well as having a physique of 5, strength training, unarmed combat experience, a nice boxer. I think I could take a few rounds.
I am a dwarf digging a hole.
In the meantime, I'm just still poking Timmerson.
I am a Drake and I'm taking a punch.
Takey punch.
Right. So I need to find his melee score, which is dat, and his unarmed, which is dat, and then I need to see if he manages to punch you.
Let's see.
Oh shit.
Did that? He swings and misses.
Here's how you do it. I swing for his head.
Okay. Roll me a melee plus whatever your attack.
You can't stack these skills, can you?
No.
Damn. Okay, so melee and any unarmed attack or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Also, hang on a sec. 1 sec. Just want to double check something. For the sake of it, I am a martial artist as a boxer. Just want to see whether that does anything.
John, a question. Are we hearing any of this?
You have heard the man come in.
We've heard. And then a whooshing sound.
Okay. Right. Going in with melee and unarmed combat. That hits.
Okay, so
Oh my god, John's gone full morph.
calculating your melee score. Take your melee stat, add your skill, and your weapon's reach. Oh. So, calculating. What's your melee stat?
5.
Add your skill.
8.
Then we subtract. Oh, what's your weapon's reach?
Well, I'm punching him because he was trying to punch me.
I would assume
So
you're both
0.
in punching range.
Subtract your enemy's reach, which is also 0, and then subtract 1 for every enemy beyond the first who is currently fighting you. There isn't any. So yeah, you succeeds. You punch.
That's how you punch.
If
Oh, thanks for the advice, mate.
he is going to attempt to defend himself, it takes a melee test. He does not. Roll me a d10.
Oh, shucks, do we have to?
While you were attempting to punch him in the face, he lifts his right arm up and manages to put it in the way of the attack. And so he will take a... Does he take an injury? Is that how that works? I think that's how that works. So I'm going to say that that is how that works. Because that's what I can do as a GM.
Stuff works.
So you just... There is a crunching noise as you shatter his right arm. Hi, Sean.
Who is this, Sean?
Sean has snuck in late
Nice.
and says she hopes it's going well.
Debatable.
I have been frog Cassilianing it up.
Also, at this point, 2 other people will walk in behind the man who is currently just like, with his arm.
To the party.
Come on then, if you think you're hard enough.
I wanted to take off my gloves.
One of them pulls a knife. There is a man and a woman. The man has pulled a knife. The woman is just kind of looking at you.
Don't worry. I'm equal opportunity.
I do believe we need to get involved.
So at this point, I do believe that you need to tell me what your reflexes are.
5.
2.
3.
4.
Broad spectrum.
And it would also be useful if I had some tokens to represent you.
Yeah, that would have been a plan from the beginning.
But I don't. We don't need a map. I just need something to put on the turn tracker. I can put things on the turn tracker with labels. Yay me.
Yay, John.
Frog. He's apparently the only one getting a turn. Drake.
Expelliarmus!
Expelliarmus.
Ms. Puddleduck.
That's me.
Expecto Patronum.
And what was other person? Weatherby.
And for Charles.
Mr. C. Weatherby. So, Frog, what was your reflex?
3.
Drake.
5.
Puddleduck.
4.
And Weatherby.
2.
Conveniently, you all have different ones.
Yeah.
And then my guys have reflexes also.
That's not allowed.
So, Mr. Slater.
Has a 0.
Jacobs.
You're mobile.
Phones for you.
And Andrews.
Is it AC Slate?
It is. It is not. It is Tom.
He's got his friend Z Morris.
There's one that's just constantly screaming.
And apparently this Z Morris is trash.
Zach Morris is trash. Great show. Honestly.
It is.
So, first up, Drake.
Yes, I would like to breathe at them.
Okay.
Not use a breath and just breathe.
Yeah, just these
Quickly at them.
Do I need a mint?
Okay.
Look up the rules, John.
Why do you people always make me look up the rules?
Because it's a new game we don't play anymore.
If he's aware that they're going to be shot at, they can attempt a reflex.
Let's vamp. So how about that latest sports event?
Okay. So they look at you, and one of them works out what you're about to do.
Goes, that guy looks like a dragon. I don't think
he's Turkey.
And so Elsie Jacobs dives behind cover, and you have a -2 to the roll to hit her.
Okay. So what do I need to roll?
You need to roll me a ranged, and then whatever skill you have in breath weapon.
I don't know what the breath... See, this is something which we didn't know.
That might have been something we should have organized.
It might have helped.
it would have come under a ranged weapon skill, I believe. So you'd have to have a skill in it to be able to add to it.
So it's a ranged attack.
Yeah, so you'd add. It would be a skill. So you'd have put breath weapon as a skill. You'd roll your dice, and the total would be your ranged plus your breath weapon.
Right.
It's a new game and we're learning the rules.
So,
Yeah, this is something we should have planned ahead.
do you have anything in breath weapon?
No, I just have breath weapon.
Then
Because everything else I put into combat, I did ask John.
well, John
But it wasn't
failed.
too
you.
sure.
It's a new game and we're all learning the rules.
We are all learning the rules.
Let's make a decision then. Should it just be his flat range then? Got any extra points in it?
So what did you say you put the points in?
Or do you want to give him his being a fucking dragon bonus?
No, what did Ben, what did you say you'd put the points in that you didn't put them into?
The skills which I have are strength training, myth, bushcraft, combat expertise, unarmed combat.
I will give you combat expertise.
Okay. We'll give this a try then. That's a fail.
So you just and breathe a gout of poisonous gas out into the room, and Slater and what's other name? Andrews cover their mouths and just like start coughing, but it doesn't seem to be affecting them, and the wallpaper starts peeling off the walls. And you guys can hear a right ruckus happening in the living room.
There's a right ruckus happening there.
Joy, looks like
What's
my friend
going
is-
on?
Looks like he's bought friends. I guess so am I.
So at this point, Andrews is going to swing with his left hand and attempt to punch you with a knuckle duster from that side.
Okay.
That's very, very unsporting.
And he just does it.
Okay.
So if you could, if basically when this occurs, you have two options. You can either bravely back away or attempt to fight back.
Can I... First of all, have I taken my gloves off?
You will have taken your gloves off.
Can I try to grab his hand? So he hits me, but I grab his hand.
That would be covered under fighting back, and Finley Shards is informing me there is a flamethrower in the game, and that I should look for those stats. That is a flamethrower. Everyone needs a flamethrower.
Especially dragons.
Uh,
I need to clean our teeth.
Or the Geneva Convention.
okay.
Zach versus Trav. This is going to be us for the rest of this killing time occasionally. Zach versus Trav.
Ooh. Yeah, it basically, yeah, will work that your breath weapon is like a flamethrower.
Ooh,
Um,
very nice.
but you still didn't hit.
Damn.
You still suck, however, so...
So basically, yes, we'll say that this is fighting back.
Okay.
Make me a melee test.
Do
Straight
it.
melee test.
So it's melee plus combat expertise.
Okay. Oh, that's a fail. Just a fail.
So he swings with his left hand, and you try to block the attack with your right, left, with your whichever hand you decided to try and block it with. But
my right hand still holding my friend.
unfortunately, you fail, and he hits you in the number 8. Right arm.
Okay, making
So you can make a physique plus strength training to avoid taking the injury.
Okay. I don't even need to roll. Because that's a straight 10, which I've got anyway.
So he punches, and he looks at you. Technically, you do need to roll because his knuckle dusters impose a -1 penalty to resist the injury. But
That's a bastard.
he punches you, and you just kind of.
He then looks at his knuckle dusters as he's managed to bend them.
So after that, Ms. Puddleduck,
Yes?
it is effectively your turn.
There is a couple at the front door.
I will go to investigate what the fuck is happening.
You walk
Hold your
out,
breath.
and there is a green miasma in the front door, and stood within it is a skinhead with knuckle dusters looking up at a large man who is just punched very solidly with the knuckle dusters, and it appears to have had no effect. There is another man wearing a red armband and holding a knife, and just ducking around a corner you can see the vague half of a woman who appears to be with them.
Could you take this collar off of me?
I don't have the key. But which one would you like dead? Correction, which one will be more useful dead?
Looking at the situation, I would probably say that one. Pointing at the one in cover.
Oh, but the one in cover I can't reach, so point to another one.
Then hit the one you can hit. Why ask the question then?
I am... Just choose the one that's causing you the most trouble.
None of them are causing me any trouble. You're causing me trouble, Hitches.
Alright, pick the one you hate the most.
Okay, the one that just hit me.
Alright,
I guess
point
he's more
pistol and
annoying.
shoots.
Okay, roll me a... well, let me just see if he can attempt... He will see you coming with a pistol.
Right.
So he is going to attempt to dodge, which I need to remember is a reflex test.
What would the pistol be? Would that be ranged?
That would be ranged plus pistol.
So that's 6. Yes!
He does not dodge,
Okay.
so does not confer any penalty to you.
Okay.
He roll me a oh no, wait. Wait. What?
You had the key. You were the last one to have it.
No, she gave it to
Charles took it back and put it in his pocket, giving you a fuck you look.
Are you using the revolver that is
The what?
Are you using the revolver that is the standard for the field kit?
I don't know!
Then
At-
I would assume yes.
At this point, say yes.
Yes!
Okay, cool.
Also, I'll double tap it as well.
What does that do?
What does that do? Let me look up what that do.
You look up what that do. I will look up what this do.
You immediately take another shot, isn't that it?
Yeah. It's, I think it's a shot -2. I don't know if that's for damage or,
That would be for this roll. Okay, so yes, you fire once, you hit, roll again, and see if you hit with the second shot.
Yeah, suffers -2 to hit, does not gain the benefit of any aiming prior to the shooting action. Oh, woo! That was very not a woo!
So you fire once, you fire a second time, and just one of the potted plants in the corner of the room just goes.
You meant to hit him.
And then could you roll me a d10, please?
Another one? Fuck.
This is to determine hit location.
So you hit him in the body.
Yeah?
You sort of hit central torso, and blood starts coming out because he's a human. And that's what happens when you
It's delicious.
hit a human. And then I need to roll that. And he falls over.
Yay!
Can I eat him?
No. Not yet.
You spoil all my fun.
And then the woman will look round the corner, hold her hand out, and
Wave. Hello.
your pistol, Miss Puddleduck, disappears.
What?
And she is now holding it.
Oh shit.
Apportation, bitch.
But that is her action. And then Mr. Mr. Slater will run forward with his knife. Are you two standing about the same place, or are you very much behind the large dragon man?
I think you're behind, aren't you?
I would have thought she would be, considering she's fire
Yeah.
spray rather than.
Okay. So that is melee plus knife thingy is number.
It is.
And he doesn't roll under it, so he just swings a knife, and you just easily step to one side out of the way of it.
Nice.
What are you doing with the toothpick?
So knife.
Call that a knife.
Okay, Frog.
Hello.
Hi.
I am going to run into the room.
Oh, welcome.
Undo me.
I don't have the key. Just everyone who comes in. The woman with the gun's gonna come in a minute. You give me the key. So, what do I want to do? I don't know what to do. I just don't know. What do I want to do? So I have walked into the room. There's like Puddleduck, like basically there, like nearby.
Yeah, basically, as soon as you run into the room, Puddleduck is stood there. There's a cloud of light cloud of smoke dissipating in front of her, suggesting that she's fired a gun recently. But she doesn't hold. She isn't holding her gun anymore.
Then there's Drake in like melee fighting with two other guys.
Well, one of the guys is currently lying on the floor in a pile of blood.
Oh yeah. Another guy with a gun has come in trying to slash. Not
Knife.
And I'm still holding the first gun.
And you're still holding the original guy. And there's a woman who's kind of put her hand out and now has a gun in it. But
Yes.
I'm assuming she's still in cover.
She is, yes.
Right. Okay. I think I am going to have to look into my spells.
Okay. This'll be fun.
It's a new thing, guys.
Can you make flowers appear?
Pulls a
I
rabbit out of the
like
hat.
flowers.
So I think. Oh yeah, no, it's from Phil. I don't know if you would want to do something to harm them or something to protect some of them, protect some of our guys.
Just hit them already.
I think he would. The guy with the knife.
Yes.
I am going to attempt to jolt him.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Roll me a sorcery casty roll to see if you can.
So is it sorcery and evocation?
Yes.
So that's going
I
to be-
do believe it is.
So I'm going to go on to the game, and I'm going to roll a d10.
You weren't on the game to begin with.
I'm switching between my spreadsheet. I'm switching between the PDF. I'm switching.
Yeah. Okay.
No excuses.
So yeah, 2. My number was 10.
Okay.
We're finally getting some successes, guys. Let's just accept the win.
Okay.
Everyone but Amy's getting some successes.
Amy shot a guy.
Yeah.
I want to point out that I kind of pull my gun out to make it look like I'm going to shoot him, and then I just kind of just shoot surreptitiously
I did punch someone.
to make it look like I shot him with some fancy gun rather than hurled magic at him.
So
If my turn goes well, that you won't need to worry about see anymore.
normally, Sean, when you use the jolt spell, you kind of make something about the level of a small static shock, and maybe if they roll incredibly poorly, they suffer an injury. If they fail a physique test, they will end up missing their next turn, but it will stun someone.
Yes.
What you've done is summon a lot more power than that. So the man goes flying backwards across the room, smoking, carried by a bolt of electricity from the gun finger that you are.
Just pointed at him.
And he slams into the wall and slides to the ground. And then he falls over. And it doesn't look like he's going to be going very far anytime soon.
Yay!
His hair stood on end. If he's got hair. Was he the bald one or was he?
No, he has hair.
That's right.
He's wiry. It's all now stood on end, and he's quite charred. And there's like a hole in the shirt where there's just like a small bit of smoke. Just, Mr. Weatherby.
Well, I'm good.
Release me.
He's going to come in. I don't have the key.
I'm going to invite my friend over.
Okay.
Will your friend release me?
Looks like John's got to go. He's going to travel too.
Tanny says that they must go to bed.
Oh,
So,
good Tanny.
night, Tanny. Love you all.
Good night, Danny. Sweet
Night,
dreams.
Daddy.
Sweet dreams and
Tanny.
fresh memes.
Tanny says, love you, Benny. Ubu.
Oh, woo.
Not as much as I love you.
Oh, that's so gay.
Mr. Charles Weatherby, would you be so kind as to roll me a physique test?
That's a fail.
Release me.
Tanny says,
Pretty
Oh,
accurate.
you're so cute.
Aw.
Stop giving Tanny orgasms and just.
You start to make your way towards the living room, Charles. And you really focus, and nothing happens.
What was that?
Look, it doesn't always work first time.
Release me, then.
Can I do anything else? Turn?
Release me.
Like, I don't know. Swallow a key.
You can pull out the key.
No, I'm gonna keep. Would I be able to unlock him this?
You could, in theory, try to unlock him. Yes.
Cool, I'm not going to. I'm sorry, I can't. I just pat my. I don't seem to have the key on me. So dropped it outside.
Down a drain.
Can I is it once per turn I get to attempt my little?
Yes.
That's a 50-50 chance. That's some bullshit.
Drake.
I dropped the person I was holding. Charles. I would like to press my hand against his face.
Okay.
Because my gloves are off. Release me.
Charles, your face starts burning.
Would that help me turn at all, or?
Sure. I'll give you a bonus of +2 to it this round.
Okay, thanks.
Give me the key.
I'm afraid I can't, but it's not my turn.
I would like to pick him up and throw him at the other people.
Okay, I think that's an improvised weapon.
This is why I didn't want to let you out, because you've been a naughty boy.
Can I use my strength training?
You've been a very naughty boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have improvised improvised thrown. Good. It's a clumsy. It's a.
I'd love it if improvised thrown brick, chair, person.
So yes, you can use strength training, but it does, unfortunately, being a improvised weapon, impose a -1 penalty to your ranged stat.
Okay.
Make me a ranged skill check with plus your strength training -1.
Damn. That failed.
That does fail.
So you pick Charles up and you hurl him across the room,
I
and
got much care for this.
he slams poof, into the wall and just kind of slides down the wall, slightly winded next to
The smouldering gentleman.
the smouldering gentleman.
Question.
Yes.
That's gonna just make me turn, right?
I will give you a +3 for that.
What? Is that in addition to the +2?
That is not in addition to the +2. Can you, however, make me a physique check at this point?
A what check?
Physique.
9.
You are going to, for that...
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. You're going to Bournemouth. Congratulations. We're sending you on a nice little holiday. You suffer an injury to... Oh, bollocks.
Have you killed? I think you've killed me, sir.
You suffer an injury to your body.
Yep.
Reduce your physique score by 1.
Yep.
And now take a physique test.
Oh no. Flex.
Liking the 9s.
You know what? I'm very, very committed to this.
You are now incapacitated and bleeding out.
The dragon.
Should have released.
Okay.
This is why I don't play D&D with you guys.
If you
Miss
released me, there wouldn't have been a problem.
Ms. Puddleduck.
Yes?
It is your go. Your gun is currently in the hands of somebody else.
Yeah, I would like that back, please.
Okay.
I can't really get it back, is the problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go. I didn't think you were using it anymore.
mean, admittedly, I could have tried to use apportation and gotten it back for you.
But you didn't.
You could have also stopped the
It's
dragon from
difficult.
throwing the
It's
explosive.
literally, I think the only way John managed to do that is because he rolled like a brilliant, magnificent success on
Can
it.
Where are my magnificent rolls, guys? This is what I want to know.
Can I use my silent movement skill to try and sneak around and snatch it back?
Yes.
I mean, you could just. I mean, I'm assuming everyone gets that field officer's kit.
Yes.
So if you want to, you could just grab my one because I'm not going to be using it.
Fine, grab yours then.
Yes. Well, to be fair, Frog is holding the gun.
Yeah. So just.
All right, I get it.
Okay.
Now can I shoot?
Now you can shoot.
I will do the shooty shoot. No, I don't want to flex and pull a muscle again.
So let me just. Okay, she can.
Nope.
She dives further into cover.
Fuck's sake.
And you can double tap.
You know what? I will do just that.
Screw it.
How the fuck did that work?
So the double tap is what at -2. So her being in cover also imposes a -2. So what's your skill?
What do you mean?
Skill with pistol.
It's 3.
No, what were you trying to roll under?
What's your range?
On the sheet, what is your ranged plus pistol?
Oh, it's 6.
So you miss.
What the fuck? Right, that's it. Jumping out the window. Bye, guys.
Oh, don't worry, the dragon will throw you soon enough.
Release me.
Well, I can't now. I am dying.
You should have released me.
She is gonna attempt to shoot you.
Can she not?
It doesn't seem likely that she will, but she's gonna try. And she, make me a reflexes test.
Oh god, how do I do that? Same roll d10.
It's roll a d10 and check it against your reflexes skill.
My reflex is... My reflex is 4. Thank you for remembering. Yay!
So she fires your gun at you.
Hey, bitch!
She's giving it back.
Stop wasting my ammo!
Stop shooting yourself. And you just...
You know those bullets don't come cheap.
You dive behind a chair and there's just a of feathers as she fires into the chair. And you manage to dodge the bullet.
Cool.
Frog.
Hello.
Hi.
So if I got a spell that affects an area,
Yes.
can I make it affect an area, say where a person's hiding behind?
Yeah.
Help me, you douchebag.
Don't. He should have freed me.
So I didn't hear what your answer was, John.
Yes.
So if I were to, I don't know, create a heat wave where that
Yeah.
woman is shooting from, I can and with a gun conduct heat.
I mean, it is mostly made of a metal, so...
So
yeah, it
So,
would...
and-
It would make sense that it would, yes.
So they have to. So do I have to roll? I'm assuming I have to roll my Dubri Thurkin, my sorcery plus evocation again.
Yes.
So I shall do that thing. I rolled it. It's a 3.
Technically, you are at a -1 to your sorcery test.
Doesn't matter. I still fucking did.
But you're fine. So, is that a stunning success still?
Well, with a -1, it'll be a 9. So
Yes. So you focus, and the air in the target area suddenly heats up, and she needs to make a physique test,
does.
and she doesn't. So she just throws the gun to the floor and starts tearing off the metal jewelry that she's wearing.
Oh.
Shiny.
It's heating up, bitch.
In theory, Sean,
Yes.
you may use this stunning success to focus the heat energy onto a tiny point within the affected area.
Ooh, I don't know. Her. Somewhere on her.
And as you focus, all of the heat from the surrounding area just dives into her, we'll say, shirt, and there's just a and there's a whoosh sound, and it bursts into flames. And I'm gonna roll another physique test, and she rolls the same.
Everyone loves those 9s.
So she just collapses to the floor and starts rolling backwards and forwards, trying to extinguish the fire, and then just kind of passes out. Meanwhile, at the end of the turn,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews continues to bleed out. Michael,
Hi.
hi. Would you be would you be so kind as to roll me a physique test with your new physique of 4? You manage to not bleed out.
Hey.
Well,
Hold your blood in.
It's like, oh no, this is supposed to be inside the body.
the test failed. You are still bleeding out, but at least for this round, you aren't closer to dying.
Yay! Thanks, Drake. You're the greatest dickhead.
On the next turn, would anybody like to do anything about the fact that Charles is currently bleeding to death?
I will try and run over to give first aid.
Yes, you
Okay. Roll me a knowledge test
Plus first aid?
plus first aid.
So...
I appreciate this.
Nope!
Oh, no.
It's not a dreadful failure.
Wait,
I don't think. No, it's not. It's not a dreadful failure.
What did you need?
I needed a 6.
Okay, well, because we got those fortune tokens, don't we?
We do have fortune tokens. May I use a fortune token to re-roll that or something?
So you have 3 of them.
Use some silver.
You have 3 of them. Use them to basically change your dice result by 1. So if each one.
No, that wouldn't help me then.
Well, if
You can use 3 of them.
Then if I use 3 of them, that would make me... Yeah, fuck it, I'll use all 3.
So you work out how to bandage him.
And then I just try to pat him on the cheek.
Charles,
Hello?
your vision swims back into consciousness, and Frog Morton is sat over you, holding your internal, holding this large gaping wound in your chest from the wall closed.
Did we win?
It appears so.
Yes, we did.
Go team. I hate the dragon.
You should have freed.
Are you alright?
I'm okay, but thank you for
No,
asking.
not you.
Quite frankly, I don't know. Noticed I was thrown
It's
on
alright. We'll get you back to safety.
Yeah, well,
by
that's-
our teammate. Like to point out.
So now I turn to the page of the book saying, in closing,
I
back her away from the door or something.
I didn't even get to wolf out.
Oh well.
Or I got
What
to
a
enter a room and
drag.
then be thrown across it.
All you did was go into someone's house, act like a dick, eat all the biscuits, go into another person's house,
Dragon Blade.
go into another person's house, find a load of silver, get pissed off because of it.
Hey, that pissed off helped us find out him.
It did.
So at this point, you have successfully managed to arrest / murder the thugs.
We did.
These are James Andrews, Elsie Jacobs, and Tom Slater, well-known members of the words are slightly higher up the page. One moment. Brethren of the Union, who are fascist sympathisers.
Not for much longer.
Well, they were.
Not any longer.
They had been. So you've managed to beat some Nazis. Well done, you.
I was right, there were Nazi spies. Ow.
I mean, they're very close, Sean.
What? Anti-slayers!
So the ministry would like to know what you would like to do with Timmerson and his friends. The brethren.
Already had a bite taken out of her.
The brethren that you've beaten up and killed were not the friends that he talked about. They were separate Nazis. Different.
So they just turned up.
They had been spying on.
Where are the other?
Been spying on us.
They had been spying on Timmerson and his friends.
Pick up Timmerson. Where are your friends? Nah.
They'll be here soon.
I would suggest that we call the Preternatural Criminality and Justice Department and get them all brought in for questioning.
I'd like to say that I would just to him. I'd be like, I told you, these books and the symbols were ways Nazi spies to communicate, and lo and behold, Nazis spy. You didn't believe me.
Slow down, Diva.
You all didn't believe me, but I showed you.
I was right. I'm not crazy now, am I?
There you are.
I'm not crazy.
They were watching, they weren't communicating. They didn't talk.
I think they wanted them. Possibly, I don't know.
I get it. It's just
We should keep the next ones alive to find out.
This is the story to tell him so he doesn't think magic is real. Okay.
By the way, I think we need to bring them in for questioning because someone must have talked to these people. Didn't just turn up because they didn't just turn up. They were looking for this man and his friends.
They were looking for the source of the magic. We know Himmler's after this sort of
Yes, which means
But
they're
I want-
going to try and take me. They may know more than me.
But my barbecue.
That's one of the Nazis you can.
I don't like you.
What do you mean? What is this like?
It is honestly against my better judgment that I somehow like all of you, though very little.
I'm sorry, you like the dragon? He threw me into a war!
You didn't
To be fair, you were
release
asking
me.
for it.
What?
I mean, you all seem and kind of pleasant.
Yes. I would say with confidence, Frogmorton, that you're probably the most pleasant to be around.
You're just meatbags to me.
Yes, I know. I know, Tam.
So, you guys return to the ministry. Charles
In the car, I'd like to poke his wound and taste the blood.
Charles Weatherby is taken into the infirmary and will spend a few days recuperating. In that time, the ministry tracks the origins of the 3 books. All 3 of them were registered property of Marlow College, which is Cambridge's Centre for Arcane Study. They were checked out by the college's Dr. Richard Clevedon and taken to his home. He since reported a break into the police, but he is a scattered-brain academic and didn't actually realise that the books were missing. It was his wife who noticed the stolen silver and jewellery. And besides, what would a common thief want with a book of spells? And so now we turn to the bit of the book that says, Home for Tea and Medals. You guys get tea and medals.
Yay!
I have a purple heart now.
What? Is that a medical condition?
I mean, besides what happens to you in the infirmary, then, yeah.
Yeah, we did it. We vaguely saved the world.
We saved a small Cambridge town.
It's just another day in the
Free
world.
me now.
Absolutely not. If it's up to me, you are never being freed in your life.
I punch him in the bed.
I mean, we can roll it if you'd like, but
I would rather not. I've had like 2 successful rolls the entire night.
you never know. You might make it.
I don't think I will with that.
Anyway, so this has been our first attempt at
Nope.
Finley
In
Shards.
the hospital.
Finley Shard says to Frog, "Quick, use the jolt spell to get him alive again."
Will I get a stunning success? I fry him.
Go on, do it. Do it. What are the odds?
Fuck it. Hang on,
Why? Why are we murdering me?
4.
Hey.
Stunning success.
I just blow up in the bed.
There is a
Charles Weatherby. Don't worry, his brother will be here next time. Schmalz Schmitherby.
there is a wave of electricity that just runs through the bed and through Charles, and there's a sharp intake of breath. This has been the Ministry for Extramundane Affairs. We will be back soon with more role-playing madness. I don't know what we will play next month in terms of one-shot wonders. What I can tell you is
A new character.
what I can tell you is that on Sunday we will be returning with the Tomb of Annihilation. Sean and Ben and myself will be returning with the Tomb of Annihilation, as we will be continuing to delve into the titular Tomb of Annihilation itself and hopefully break the death curse that is currently gripping Faroon. On Monday, Sean and myself, along with a number of other people, will be on our Sky Factory Minecraft server. I believe Michael might be included in that crazy number of people.
I will not break anything.
Promises, promises.
Otherwise, Tan comes for you.
Finley Shard says, "Thank you for the stream, everyone. Was a lot of fun."
Sorry, I missed this. Missed that.
Finley says, "Thank you for the stream, everyone. It was a lot of fun."
Yay!
Yay. Good to hear.
I had a great time. Ow!
I certainly did. Nice barbecue villain.
On Wednesday next week, will we be back? We will be back with some more Golden Tooth.
John will be drunk.
John's always drunk. We know this.
Sean and Amy will be joining Sean and myself and Sammy as we look to facilitate a regime change.
We're gonna kill the guy.
Friday next week is currently up in the air still, I believe. And then the Sunday after that, we will be back with more Tomb of Annihilation in an episode that is currently titled on the events list as Those Left Behind.
Oh no.
As those left behind in the devastating aftermath, the harrowing events at the end of the previous session have to work out where they go from here.
Wow.
For now, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we are going to switch over to the credits and roll the credits. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo, woo, woo.
Ooh, woo, woo.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Blah, blah, blah.